UFP, the United Federation of Podcasts.
Engage.
78 years have passed since the days of the original USS Enterprise. Now a new Galaxy Starship has been designed.
Transporter Chief, beam our listeners aboard. Welcome to Galaxy Class, a Star Trek Next Generation podcast on the United Federation of Podcast Network. I am your Chief Recreational Officer, Ria Papagiorgio, joined by our Diplomatic Standard Bearer, Kevin Scharf, and Head of Astrophysics, Joe Keegan. Hello, gentlemen. How goes it?
It goes well. I'm happy to report it is a long weekend and I have nothing planned except doing this podcast today. So, huzzah!
Yeah, it goes also for me. It's kind of getting cold here, so I had to put on the central heating. Yeah, it's just a short, normal-sized weekend for me. No holiday, back to work on Monday. So, that's about. How are you, Ria?
Oh, got the long weekend here as well. I have Monday off, thank God. And we're going to have gorgeous weather this weekend in the 90s Fahrenheit / mid 30s Celsius until Monday, and then Tuesday we're going to have a high of 10 Celsius or 50 Fahrenheit, and then winter will be here.
And
and then I'll get cranky.
You have your long weekend to celebrate the incorrectly spelled Labor Day. Is that correct?
That is correct. Or incorrect, depending how you look at it.
From.
We spell it right here.
Ah, with a U.
No, it's got a U here. Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, Canada.
Mm-hmm. So.
Well, let's check the communication array to see if we have any comments from our listeners.
Logs accessed.
From Facebook about episode 4 on Jean-Luc Picard, Vera Bible writes, "Always love listening to deep dives on TV and literature characters, so I really enjoyed this episode. For me, when I think of Jean-Luc, I think of integrity and dignity. He represents what we should aspire to be, even if we can never quite get there. As far as quotes, a couple of my favorite are, 'The road from legitimate suspicion to rampant paranoia is very much shorter than we think,' and 'Time is a companion that goes with us on a journey. It reminds us to cherish each moment because it will never come again.'"
And she did spell favorites correctly.
Yes, she did. There's a U in favorites there.
Yes.
Cool. Thanks, Vera, for that comment. Yeah, I think those words, any word that sounds like it would be hard to achieve, like integrity or dignity or gravitas, all those words that we normally associate with Jean-Luc Picard, I think really apply.
Agreed.
Yeah. And some of those quotes, I mean, for a show that was written in the 80s and 90s, some of those quotes are so relevant today.
Relevant. The road from legitimate suspicion to rampant paranoia is very much shorter than we think. That just sums up 2020 in a nutshell, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
We have a comment from Chrissie De Clerck-Szilagyi on the Federation Council Chambers, which is our listeners group on Facebook. "I also love things are impossible until they're not." I wonder where I've heard that quote from. Is it Justin Oser, maybe? Until recently, I always thought of it as a positive, like the ability to travel the stars is simply yet to come. Lately, though, American politics has caused me to think of how it can be negative. Fascism in the United States is impossible until it's not. Sorry if I brought the mood down, but it makes me think that we not only have to work towards the impossible things we want to happen can happen, but we also have to work to make sure the things we feel are impossible because we can't bear to consider the possibility or consequences don't happen. Thanks for your comment. That was quite profound and quite apt given the fact that we're living in 2020. Yeah, I think you can take things that are impossible until they're not. You can take that either way. If we stay silent too long on what's happening around us, then things that we don't want to happen will happen.
Yeah, I hadn't thought of that either until Chrissy brought that up. And not just 2020, Joe. Everyone disses on 2020, but this is my year. But what about Brexit? Um, Look at the Greek economy slash political system. Yeah,
I agree. Just 2020 has been mostly horrendous for everyone.
except me. Also from the Federation Council chambers, we have a comment from Mahendran Radhakrishnan. And it's a longer comment, so I won't read all of it. But listeners, go to the Federation Council chambers, our listeners group on Facebook, and you can read all the comments. But Mahendran says, "What a great episode. I could relate to your conversation about not having regrets. I don't have any children and have not yet been married. For me, it just comes down to gratitude. I'm grateful for the life the universe has given me and look forward to each new day. My past has helped shape the amazing person that I am. I won't want to change it. Additionally, I could really relate to the conversation about comfortability with being wrong from a medical student's perspective." And then he goes into some quotes here, and like I said, I won't read the whole his whole comment. Go to the Federation Council chambers and read it. But he does end with, "Look forward to the next podcast. I'm in the Hippocrates College at my medical school. Yay, Greek stuff." So I will second the yay, Greek stuff.
Yay, Greek stuff. It's nice when listeners share their personal stories with us, and Mahendran here has really he really has gotten quite personal with us, and I really appreciate that. So thank you, Mahendran, for listening and for sharing your story with us.
Mahendran is a really cool guy
I second that.
with a really cool name, so we like him.
Ooh, where did you guys meet, or have you met?
I'm going to say we haven't met, but we've been, mind that other podcast on the other network, on the other patrons roundtables.
Cool.
I think we have met, I believe. Yes, that's exactly where we have met. Yeah.
Nice. Well, thank you for commenting.
This is the captain. Senior officers will report to my ready room immediately.
Well, listeners, today we are going to continue a series that we actually started on Earl Grey on a different network, where we find the redeeming qualities of low-rated episodes. We have already tackled season 1, so today we're going to talk about the season 2 stinkers. And we're just kind of going to go around the group and bring up an episode that is not rated very well, and bring up any of the redeeming qualities that we find in that episode.
Can I speak on TNG's behalf and take offence at the fact that you've called them stinkers? I don't believe anything in Star Trek is a stinker. Ria Papa Giorgio.
Except for Sub Rosa.
My code of honour.
When we get to that season, I might have to bow out.
The finale of Enterprise. And
Well, that's
Nemesis
just a
because
TNG
Amy's not here.
Oh.
I'm kidding, Amy. I love you.
You're right, Joe. Any Star Trek is good Star Trek. So, Kevin, what episode would you like to start with?
Well, we got the list of the lowest rated episodes from IMDb. Let's just say that off the top. And so when looking at the 10 lowest rated episodes, I had a couple of really favorites in this list, actually. And the one that I really enjoy that is rated 4th lowest of season 2 is the Dauphin. I like this episode a lot. I think it's rated very low because it's so Wesley Crusher focused. And we know that there is a Wesley Crusher bias out there in fandom in general. But this is Wesley being a teenager. It's not Wesley being a super genius, and it's not Wesley saving the day. He does no saving of any days here. In fact, he messes up a lot because he falls in love, and it's a cute little high school puppy love kind of story. And I find it cute and disarming. And I think one of the funniest scenes in all of Star Trek The Next Generation is in this episode. And it is the Riker-Guinan flirtation scene. I just think that is really funny. And for a show that doesn't get to be that loose and silly, for a scene like that to be in this episode redeems it in my eyes. Just that one scene alone. So I really like the Dauphin, and I'm sad that it's not rated higher. It's rated 6.2 out of 10 on IMDb. So I don't know. What do you guys think? What are your thoughts on the Dauphin?
I agree with you. I mean, I don't love the episode. I see why it's rated low, because for the same reason that I find it a little irritating is the whole Wesley thing. And Wesley really shows his arse in this episode. Just in so many ways. you're right. He's a teenage boy. He's immature, but I was just wincing. I was cringing as he's talking to Celia,
Yeah.
Celia,
Yep.
Celia,
Celia.
about, oh, and you can go to this planet, and this will all be yours. You can see all of this. And I'm just like, Wesley, have you even listened to her? Like, shut up and listen for a minute. No, she can't.
I will admit that some of Wesley's dialogue strains credulity. It's not
Yes.
well written. Will Wheaton does the best he can with some
Yes.
terrible, terrible dialogue.
Yeah.
But on the whole, the story is fun and sweet, and I like it. And I think the shape-changing special effects are pretty good for 1989. And I like that Worf gets his butt kicked by a small woman. And it's just got some really fun, nice moments in it.
It does. And I loved Anya. She was a wonderful character and kicking Worf's butt a little bit and having some, but then some commonality with Worf. So we had some Worf character development. And then when Wesley's going around and getting relationship advice, I loved Worf's advice.
Yes.
That was great. And Data, and and don't go to Geordi for advice about women.
No.
But yeah, there were definitely a lot of redeeming characteristics in this episode. And another thing that I liked about it was kind of a theme of appearances maybe deceiving. When they were taking Anya on the tour and they were in engineering and Geordi was, working on the warp core or whatever. And she asked what he was doing, and he spoke down to her like she was just some little old lady. And then she kind of, put him in his place when she went up there. And that was, I like that part too. So yeah, not as bad an episode as everyone seems to think.
I think it'd be interesting if we took out all the reviews from people that didn't like Wesley and then recalculated its score. I reckon it would score much higher. I
think you're right.
Firmly in the Wesley fan club because he's a little bit older than me. So as a teenager, he was a teenager. So it was like during my formative years. So I kind of aspired to be like Wesley almost. I'd seen nothing wrong with this episode. I'd really enjoy it. And I like kind of teen dramas. Do you mean I watched all of Glee and I'm watching Stargirl? And they're fun and yeah, he is a bit innocent, but you said
Can I admit something very embarrassing right here on this podcast? So when
you have a crush on Wesley?
No, I didn't have a crush on Wesley, but when this originally aired, I was about the same age as Wesley, and I wrote crazy Mary Sue fanfic where I was Doctor Who's companion and we ended up on the Enterprise and I showed Wesley all about 20th century Earth.
Nice.
Oh. Do you still have this? I think this should be a patron special.
There you go.
Yeah, I don't know if I actually ever wrote it down or it was just a story that I dreamed up, but I have very, very clear memories of this storyline where the Doctor and I showed up on the Enterprise and I became friends with Wesley. And we played in the holodeck for the whole story.
As you would. Talking about the holodeck,
that's pretty awesome.
I love those scenes where he takes Salia. What's her name? Salia. Celia. Sorry. Takes Celia to the holodeck. Those planetary vistas that he shows her are just really nice. Yeah. And they're all just map paintings, but they look really cool. I like this episode, and nobody's going to convince me otherwise.
Well, take that, IMDb, and you Wesley haters out there. Boom. All right, anything else on the Dauphin?
Why do you think it was called the Dauphin?
The Dauphin is, I'm thinking...
She's like the Princess Regal or something like that?
Yeah, is that not... The Dauphin's a French term, isn't it? Like, the Dauphin of France was...
Right.
Something
child empress
to do with the throne of France, weren't they? The Dauphin is this eldest son of the King of France, so maybe next in line to the throne.
Oh, I see.
So she's the Dauphin because she's going to take her place as the main person on her planet.
As the leader.
It's a lot of responsibility to put on a young girl's shoulders.
But we see that a few times in Star Trek.
Although
over the series.
we don't know how old she is because, Anya showed up as a teenage girl at one point, so maybe Celia is the
Mm-hmm.
same age as Anya. You don't know. Although we got the impression that Celia has been trained and taught and tutored and babysat by Anya for her entire life.
Yeah, like Anya
Yeah,
could be
yeah.
like 500 years old and Celia is maybe 16.
Yeah,
Anya does say at one point that she's much older than anyone knows or something like
right.
that. But she's cool. If I ever had the inclination to write fan fiction, I think I'd hang out with Anya.
Just so you have an elastomorph as a bodyguard, really.
Oh, that'd be
I think you
awesome.
could probably take care of yourself, Ria.
I need someone to peel grapes for me and hand feed me.
Nice.
Alrighty. So, Joe, what's an episode that you would
Oh,
like
let
to
me
discuss?
see. Okay, so I'm going to choose episode 4 from season 2. And like the Dauphin, or similar to the Dauphin, it scored 6.3. Which, in Scotland, is a solid C. So there's nothing failing, it's not a failing grade by any means. But it's the outrageous O'Connor. And it is, do you know what? I'm not going to be really vain here. It's because it's got that guy that played O'Connor in it, who's like much better looking than Jonathan Frakes.
Billy Campbell.
Yeah, he's just, there's something deliciously dreamy about him, if I'm allowed to say that in a podcast.
You just
He's got
did.
a roguishness about him, which is really attractive, and his hair is kind of that kind of floppy, silky, shiny way, and he's got some stubble. So yeah, that is the one and only reason to watch that episode. But it's got a cool story alongside that, where he's, what's that about again? I'm seriously stuck about just looking
There's
at him.
the two families
Yeah,
and
transporting the girl to her boyfriend. It's Romeo and Juliet essentially, and
Yes.
he's the
Yeah.
courier. It's also the episode where we see Data on the holodeck trying to learn how to be funny, and it's
Yes.
that's why this maybe scores a little bit lower than it should, because it's really cringy. It's
It is.
terribly cringy. So if you can skip past that, watch Billy Campbell and the investigation into why is this girl trying to escape and get to her boyfriend on the other side. That's why I like it.
This is an episode that makes me cringe for a lot of reasons. The comedy being one, but this is what brings Joe Piscopo into the Star Trek family.
Mm-hmm.
But I kind of agree with you on Billy Campbell. While I don't necessarily find him super dreamy, he reminds me so much of a friend of mine, John Lillis. I know you're not listening, but who the same thing with the floppy hair and like the effect on women where they just melt in his path. And I grew up with him. I've worked with him, and it was just the funniest thing for me to watch. Women swooning over him left and right. So I guess that's one thing I like about this episode. But the whole thing too with the pregnant girl being treated as property, and the father's honor has been offended, and all this. That stuff just makes me roll my eyes. But we're looking for good qualities.
You got the impression that O'Connor was a character that maybe they created to be recurring, sort of Harry Mudd-like, that could have shown up from time to time. He seems sort of like Star Trek's answer to Han Solo, free spirit, roguish, does his own thing, goes his own way. And you sort of see shades of him in Captain Reyes on Star Trek Picard, right? Like almost they could have almost used O'Connor in that role. So I think you see shades of O'Connor in other characters later in Star Trek. And I think he is a character that could have come back, but Billy Campbell got a TV series, I think, so.
And pardon my ignorance here, but what TV series did Billy Campbell get?
Was it called Once and Again, I believe?
Okay.
It ran for a couple of years.
Gotcha. And that would have been cool had he been a recurring character, kind of like Loxana Troy or Q, who could be if they were just one-off characters, would have been really irritating.
Yeah.
But the fact that they came back time and again, I don't know, allowed them to develop more fully.
He
So who
also
knows? Maybe for Picard season 2.
also right after filming Star Trek, he had the lead in the movie The Rocketeer. So
Okay.
yeah, he
All
was,
stuff that I've never seen.
oh, The Rocketeer is a great, fun, period piece superhero film.
It's like
It's on Disney Plus.
Yeah, it's like 1930s, 40s.
Yeah, it's set in the 30s.
It's got
Yeah,
that feel about it, like wartime feel.
Timothy Dalton plays a Nazi.
Yeah.
It's
Oh, I saw that on Disney Plus. Not watched it, but saw that it was on Disney Plus last week. You spoiled the joke. It could have been your timing. My timing is digital.
Now that's funny.
It's
Actually, yeah.
It's dad jokes. So
Yeah.
stupid.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Oh, Data, he came so far.
I didn't love the Joe Piscopo scenes, but I guess we needed a B plot this week.
Yes. Get it out of the way early in season 2.
Mhm.
Guy walks into the doctor's office. The doctor tells him you need an operation. Guy says, I want a second opinion. Doc says, okay, you're ugly too. Bada boom.
Yeah.
Dad joke. There's
Zing.
nothing funny about that. You can imagine being in a comedy club after a few drinks and finding that hilarious. Just because it gets you in the right spot.
I think it would take more than a few.
Yeah, strong American pours, like free pours. Like where there's more vodka than mixer. Yeah.
Exactly.
I'm picturing that happening at on Deep Space Nine at Vic's bar there. And Data being escorted out by security. All right. Anything else on the outrageous Okona?
I like the way he interacted with various members of the crew. I think Riker was a bit jealous of how easily he picked up Terry Hatcher. And I like the way he interacted with Wesley. Again, I thought that was just fun, sort of.
He was kind of like what Riker wanted to be, but Riker's a button-down Starfleet officer, and Okona gets to be this freewheeling, unrestrained, free spirit.
They're the same character, but Riker's in shackles to Starfleet, essentially.
Yes.
Well, keeping on the Riker theme, an episode I want to talk about is the Icarus Factor, which was rated 6.3 on IMDb, but there are a lot of things I like about it. A lot of things that are just funny about it. And I did notice some themes throughout these low-rated episodes that weren't bad themes, stuff that I thought was pretty interesting. And one of them being this is season 2, so we get some development of Dr. Pulaski. And I don't know, I've never understood why people don't like Pulaski. I love her. So in the Icarus Factor, of course, what's the first thing you think of? Pulaski did Riker's dad. I love that whole little plot line there. And Riker even asked her, he's like, you never mentioned you knew my dad. And she's like, oh, I thought it was common knowledge. And, it never came up. That's funny. Another thing that I just love about that episode, Embojitsu. I mean, I don't know if that's one word or two, but yeah. This is where we first talk about the rite of ascension for Worf, for the Klingon culture, and the pain sticks.
Yeah.
And then another thing, Will Riker's just like his dad with being emotionally closed off. And again, we get character development for Will Riker here, but I think it kind of explains why Will hated Thomas Riker so much, why they really butted heads so much, because, not only was Will butting heads with his dad in this episode, but there was some, this underlying kind of, not self-loathing, but maybe insecurity, not feeling good enough, never being good enough in the eyes of his dad, or so he felt, and having to compete with his dad. And then again, in the later episode when he, meets his duplicate, he's got to compete with himself. I don't know. I thought there was a lot of good stuff in the Icarus Factor.
I kind of find this episode kind of forgettable. The only things you remember about it is the Anbo Jitsu fight between Riker and his dad and the Klingon pain sticks. Because I don't think much happens in this episode. There's no big main mystery to discover. Basically, Kyle comes on board to offer or brief Riker on his new command. And the whole episode is Will trying to decide if he's going to take it and dealing with his feelings towards his dad. And then there's the B plot with Worf's ascension, like you said, Ria. But apart from that, it's kind of struggling to find good things about it.
This is
there's not a lot of action for sure.
no. This is a character study episode, which is fine. You need those from time to time. There is no action. I guess that's why we needed Klingon pain sticks. We do get Wesley sticking his nose into other people's business because it's Wesley who discovers that it's Worf's anniversary of the Rite of Ascension or something, which is why the whole pain stick ceremony happens. And Worf didn't want to talk about it, but Wesley goes sticking his nose in where it's not wanted, and I guess it worked out for him this time. But I think it's episodes like this are why people don't like Wesley. You know, if you tell a kid to leave me alone and he digs into your past instead, I'd be a little annoyed with him as well.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, I know they needed some kind of plot device to figure out why Worf was being such a jerk, but yeah, that was a little bit annoying. But something did resonate with me rewatching this again for today's episode, where Worf, and it's something, again, because I live in Nebraska, okay? I really sympathize with Worf a lot. His isolation, he was the only Klingon on board the Enterprise. This is a day that's important to him. He has nobody to celebrate it with. I was just thinking about this yesterday as I'm kind of like examining myself, why I'm so dreading having to go back to work in the office versus staying on telework. And it's just like that isolation of being surrounded by people who are totally different, who have different priorities and values and celebrate different things, and always try to make you feel like the weirdo because you're not just like they are. I could see how Worf could get cranky about that, because I will when I have to go back into the office. I'll be very cranky. Sorry, everybody. Not sorry.
Yeah, I don't know if there's much more to say about this. I thought the Ambo Jitsu uniforms looked very silly, kind of Rock'em Sock'em robot-y.
Or like Tron outfits, almost.
Yes.
But they reminded me of the Gladiator. I don't know if you guys had a version of the Gladiator, where you basically go on TV and there would be like an assault course, but there would be some kind of American Ninja Warrior type, kind of muscled dude or woman chasing you. And they used to have these things, and I called them pugil sticks. Like pugil, like boxing, but they were like the Anbo Jitsu sticks, like those, and you had to knock each other off some kind of spinning log.
Yep.
So it just reminded me of Gladiators.
American Gladiator.
Oh.
Yeah. Rings a bell. Reminds me of the 80s.
You had to try to climb to the top of a pyramid, and people would push you down off the top.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you had like the characters like Nitro. And
yes.
That's the only name I remember.
I'm going to have to Google that.
Titan. Yeah.
Lightning.
Icarus.
Wasn't there a lightning, I think?
Storm. Yeah, there might have been. Or a thunder. Yeah. Storm, Wolverine.
But it was kind of...
Ice.
It was in the 80s, wasn't it? So...
I think so.
They all had really big hair. It was kind of backcombed.
Yes.
And they were all really tanned and oiled up. Like what Ria was a couple of weeks ago with her bodybuilding.
Right. What do you mean a couple of weeks ago?
Not a couple of weeks ago. Albeit not all oiled up.
Are you saying that I've fallen off my... Yeah. Oh, yeah, the oiled up, for
super
sure.
shiny, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying.
I just spent 5 days at my parents' house, so we don't have the six-pack anymore. It's gone. Yeah, so the Icarus factor, definitely good for memes and comedy factor, character development, not so much action entertainment.
It is where we learned that Riker grew up in Alaska, pretty much raised by wolves,
Yep.
alone in a cabin.
Since his dad ditched him at 13.
Yeah.
Oh, that was another thought I had, is that perhaps that's why Riker's so drawn to Deanna, because she's a betazoid and has the empathic ability to sense his emotions without him having to express things, because clearly expressing emotions is not something the Riker men do.
No.
Hadn't occurred to me.
Nice. So, Kevin, you have another episode for us?
I want to talk a bit about Season 2, Episode 1, The Child. Now, The Child is not a great episode. In fact, it is the second lowest rated episode of the season. Part of the reason why it's so bad is that there was a writer's strike. That's the reason why there are fewer episodes in Season 2 than any other season, 22 as opposed to 26. And The Child started out as a story script that was developed for Star Trek Phase 2, the never-produced 70s Star Trek revival that they worked on. They ended up making Star Trek the Motion Picture instead. So The Child, in its original form, the impregnated character was supposed to be Ilea. And when they didn't have any scripts because of the writer's strike, they just said, well, let's dust off this old script, change a few names, and make it work. I've got some major problems with this story. This is the worst mansplaining in all of Star Trek. The conference room scene where they're sitting around talking about what to do about Deanna's pregnancy without talking to Deanna drives me crazy. It's just, and then when she decides to keep the baby, they all look upset and stunned. Like, it's not your body. Back off, man. This is supposed to be the enlightened 24th century. Like, get the F away from me, I don't blame Deanna for being upset. And then on the other hand, she gets over it all very, very quickly at the end, after the baby has been born and grows up to be an 8-year-old in the span of 3 days, and then dissipates into the universe to save the ship. And she's back on the bridge the next day like nothing happened. Those are some major story issues I have. Now, let's find something good to say about it. I like Pulaski and Troy's relationship. I think that's a nice relationship. I like Pulaski's bedside manner when it comes to this. I do like that Deanna stands up for herself and makes her own choice about her own body, and doesn't let the men push her around. Yeah, those are the positive things I can say about The Child.
I think the mansplaining is less offensive because Deanna has an opportunity to defend herself and says no.
True.
Then she kind of almost explains to them that what they're doing isn't acceptable. No, it's my body. Yes. They were treating it as some kind of hostile forces come aboard the ship, and they're trying to solve it as a kind of a Starfleet kind of problem of the week, rather than a member of the crew falling pregnant. I think also about the whole pregnancy thing and the speed at which it happens. There's two things which she gets over very quickly. The fact that she was impregnated in the first place without her permission. Mm-hmm. I'm going to call it that carefully. And then the fact that her child dies after 3 days. Those two things happen, which are hugely cataclysmic things for anybody to experience. Never mind a mother. But I don't hate the episode. I still quite enjoy the episode because I like the fact that when she went through that, I find it quite a compelling story. That this energy being came on board, wanted to experience what it was like to be human, impregnated a crew member, and became human himself to experience that, then left. Because they'd done that, that was their exploring new civilizations. So that is quite a compelling sci-fi story. But yeah, it's kind of haphazard in a way, which might be explained by the fact that there was a writer's strike on at the time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually surprised it's rated as low as it is. I mean, I agree it definitely has its flaws, but I think there's so much beauty in this episode. And it's funny that the one, you talk about like these sudden changes and how Deanna gets over them so quickly. The one that always gets me is you go from not pregnant to fully pregnant, belly out to here in a couple days to not pregnant again. Um, I know just from 5 days at my parents' house, from eating, whenever I'm there and I eat so much and my like abdomen gets distended, I get like this pain in my ribs, from like stretching so
Mm-hmm.
much. Maybe this is TMI. And that's just from like eating, 4 times as much food as I need to in a given day for a few days in a row. So that always got me how she could go from not pregnant to, ready to pop, all stuff, belly out to here and back. And then Dr. Pulaski says, yeah, there's no signs she was even pregnant. Like, are betazoids that extra stretchy? Because so that part kind of always makes me lift an eyebrow. But there's such a, like I said, I see so much beauty in this episode. Here she is impregnated without her permission, um, against her will, I guess. And but in that conference room scene, she's feeling that connection with her child. And here again, these men, these other people are talking about what to do with her child. Worf wants to kill it, and Riker, who's the father? Who's the father? You, Riker, you. Okay, Troy's not your property, and that's a issue I have, particularly in season 2, is Riker treating Troy like his property while he's off, you know, getting naked with every Irish woman who wants her feet washed. Um, but yeah, and then Troy does stand up for herself and is like, "This is my child," and I'm one of those people that believes that parents do have a right, to decide what's best for their child, and that includes father and mother. But Riker, you're not the father. Um, yeah, so the beauty in Troy choosing life for her child, and then to see her, her connection develop with that child, and then, yeah, it sucks he dies within a few days, but he gives her that moment, when he's the little piece of light, and kind of, I think that helps for her to, I don't know, process everything that's happened, gives her some closure as she loses her child. Um, and to see, I don't know, I just spent a few days with my 3-year-old niece and 8-month-old nephew, and when you see like children experiencing things for the first time, and um, I don't know, learning and growing. In this case, it's at warp speed, but yeah, I've never quite understood why this episode is so poorly rated.
Do you think she maybe gets over it so quickly because she received such a special gift at the end? Remember, he comes up to her as a wee ball of light, and it's almost like he
Yeah,
whispers something to her, and then she's okay.
I think that
So it's like,
I think that's a big
yeah.
part of it, and then the fact that it was only a few days. So I mean, if something like that were to happen to me, first of all, my ribs would hurt, but when it's all over, it would be like a dream to me. It's like between this Saturday and last Saturday, oh, I got pregnant, had a baby, raised him to 8 years old, and he died. Like, to me, that would just be like a dream.
Okay. So it has less of an impact because it's over such a short time. Possibly.
I also got the impression that Ian was psychically letting her know that everything was going to be okay, because she was never upset, she never got angry, she never was worried. She always just was like, this is the way it is, this is the way it has to be. And so I was getting the impression that the child was letting her know that everything was fine.
Yeah,
Because
she's a Starfleet officer, so if things were normal, she should have realised that in day 2 he was kind of 3 feet tall and 8 years old, and that would have appeared weird. And there's the scene where Captain Picard comes into the quarters, and Troy's just acting as if everything's normal, but Dr. Pulaski's like, yeah, this is him now after 2 days. So there must have been some kind of, he was a wee energy being, so who knows what kind of way he manipulated her. Not in a bad way, though.
Yeah, and you're right, Kevin, because even in that scene, Joe, when they asked Troy, we need to find out why he's here, you know, what he's doing here. And she says when his cognitive abilities catch up, he'll be able to express it, and he will. So you're right. The whole time she was very cool and not worried at all about it. And even her childbirth was painless.
Yeah.
And that kind of I saw quite a few parallels to in Christianity, the conception and birth of Christ, which was a seedless conception by Mary, who was overcome by the Holy Spirit, and then exactly 9 months later, not 2 days later, gave birth without pain, and then her son was taken away from her 33 years later and ascended into heaven. After his resurrection. Anyway, a lot of parallels
There are.
between those
So
two.
it was Star Trek's version of an Immaculate Conception.
Yeah, yeah.
I think we are overlooking the one biggest good thing about this episode, and that is we learned that there are puppies on the Enterprise.
That's right.
That's right.
Kinda...
That we never see again.
Who looks after the puppies?
They're white Labradors, aren't they?
They were very cute puppies.
Do they throw them back in the replicator and they're tomorrow's chicken sandwich and coffee?
Very good question.
Yeah. I know you don't like dogs, but as a dog father, that's offensive.
Sorry.
Shall we move on?
I think we shall. You got another one to talk about?
Joe.
We're all avoiding the elephant in the room, aren't we? I'm going to choose the non-elephant in the room, and that is Up the Long Ladder, which has a score of 6.3. And it's episode 18 out of 22, season 2. The biggest problem with Up the Long Ladder is the way these Irish colonists are portrayed, in the same vein as Code of Honor, except less offensive. But everything about it irritates me. And then the whole foot washing scene that you mentioned, Ria, and she's got that knitted kind of sleeveless jumper crop top thing on, and Riker seduces her, and it's like, she said, Riker asks, what does this foot washing entail? And she says, well, you usually start at the top and work your way down.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh. And then they kiss, and it's like, oh, no.
Yeah.
It's just horrible, horrible, horrible. What I do like about this episode, if we're going to find any redeeming qualities about it, is the idea that there's a race out there and they're all clones, and they are having that problem of genetic degradation, like copy of a copy of a copy, and they need fresh DNA. So they basically ask for the Enterprise's crew DNA to supplement their genetic stores, but then they steal it, and then the crew find out. And it turns out it all becomes good when these Irish colonists get to go down to the planet to become new genetic stock, which outrages the inhabitants of this planet, because they don't have sex anymore. It's all just genetic manipulation and cloning. And so the idea of kind of engaging in the carnal arts is anathema. Look at me with my string of big words.
Yeah. Ew, sex is gross.
Yeah. I think that's the science part of it is what interested me. What about you guys?
Because originally they came from the same stock, and so here they were going to come back together. So yeah, that's a good point. But I'm with you on so many things, like just this episode. So I don't have cable or anything, but HNI TV. Right now they're in season 2 of Next Generation. So this was on last night. Samaritan Snare the night before. When I knew we were doing this episode today, I've like forced myself to watch them, because otherwise I've been skipping a lot of these episodes because they are not the greatest. But last night it was just, this is a tough one to watch. But a good part out of it, the Klingon tea ceremony. Again, I love Dr. Pulaski, and I think season 2 we get a lot of Worf character development too, and the relationship that she and Worf have. and she has an understanding of Klingon culture to some extent. I liked that. I liked the tea ceremony. She even lied to the captain about, Worf's medical condition. But yeah, that was my favorite part.
I forgot about the tea ceremony. That's a nice.
She had to inoculate herself because the tea is poison.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
She thought about
I
it.
like that.
Yeah, you're right. I like Pulaski as well. Although you're more used to Crusher being the Doctor. Maybe not at this point if you're watching it from the start. But over the 7 seasons and the 4 movies, I think I prefer Crusher. And they're very different Doctors, aren't they? They've got very different personalities and bedside manners. And
I always figured that's why people didn't like Pulaski, was because she wasn't Crusher. And I have nothing against Dr. Crusher, but I've never loved her. She's just a character that's there. But I really like Pulaski, and maybe that's a little bit of TOS bias, because Diana Muldaur is Star Trek royalty, if you ask me. But I really do like her character, and I like how she gives Captain Picard a hard time every now and then.
And she's also in the mold of Dr. McCoy too, sort of crusty, doesn't just go along with everything.
Yeah.
But very good at what she does. So.
Yes. Kind of like this Cation doctor in Lower Decks. I love her.
Te'ana? I think her name is Te'ana.
Yeah, and then the doctor on Discovery, and I can't think of her name right now. Oh, I love her too. So maybe I just like crusty doctors. That didn't come out well.
like crusty as in curmudgeonly and
yes.
a bit irascible.
Yes. Yep. Yes. No nonsense. Blunt. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Ria, do you have a second episode?
I do, and I think it's time to address the elephant in the Zoom room. I think it's time to address this big gray elephant that has various shades of gray, this elephant does. And let's talk about Shades of Grey.
What was the score on IMDb? Yeah, what was that score?
IMDb rates it at 3.4. I've never seen anything rated that low on IMDb before.
Interesting. That
it's the lowest rated episode of Star Trek in totality. In the almost 800 episodes of Star Trek, it is the lowest rated episode.
Is nuts, because we all know that Sub Rosa should be that. But
interestingly, that score has increased since I produced my spreadsheet.
Oh.
When I produced my spreadsheet, which was a good few months back, the score was 3.1.
Oh.
Wow. Oh. Well, if I can figure out how to get in there, I would actually rate this one higher. I don't think it's terrible. And I'm watching it wondering, why does everybody hate this so much? Is it just because it's a clip show, or is it because everyone says it's bad and so people just go with it and say that it's bad, kind of like Spock's brain kind of thing? But there's some good stuff in there. The premise is not bad. It's an interesting premise, and something that realistically you should see a lot more of in Star Trek, where a away team goes on a planet and someone picks up some crazy bug that we don't know what to do with. Kind of relevant to right now with the COVID-19 thing too, when you've got some crazy virus or microbe of some sort that you can't
just
get
made
rid
me
of.
think that on an early episode of Lower Decks, the away team went and the crazy bug got them instead of them getting the crazy bug. The guy Boimler got taken up by the spider bug. He got taken by a bug instead of the bug getting him.
But there was
And wasn't it the first officer that got bitten on the neck?
Yeah, the zombie virus.
Yeah.
The first episode of Lower Decks. So maybe that was a shout out to Shades of Grey with the first officer, taking a bug bite. Clever. But yeah, aside from that, I think the premise was really good. You get some good character moments in this. You get Dr. Pulaski in her final episode, but she's just doctoring, and you have Troy counseling, although I think she's a little over the top emotional about her Imzadi, but I get it. You have Geordi being Geordi, O'Brien running that transporter, and of course you get a lot of Riker character moments here. So, it's only like half an episode, but...
Ria, can you just go into a bit more detail? The really good character moments where Dr. Pulaski doctoring, Counselor Troy counselling, the transporter chief transporting. And these are the highlights for you. I just want to double check.
Well, I think, and I could be wrong, I think it's the most O'Brien that we've gotten to this point. And like very early on when they go to beam after Riker gets bitten and Geordi's there on the away mission and he's like, hey, sorry, we got to beam you up. He kind of not pulls rank, but pulls regulations on Riker. And O'Brien's the first one to say, oh, we can't beam him up. There's some kind of microbe in him. And the transporter buffer, Heisenberg, tech, no bueno. And so then they have to beam down and, Pulaski evaluates the situation. I mean, there was a lot of, in just kind of that, for those first few scenes, a lot of teamwork and people doing their jobs. And I like Pulaski, man. I think she'd still be alive for Picard season 2.
Absolutely.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Maybe Lower Decks.
I like this episode up until the point where it becomes a clip show. And it becomes the clip show after 16 minutes and 29 seconds, I think, which is over a third of the episode. So up until that point, it's solid. And then it flicks in and out between clips and kind of the action of trying to save Riker. Ria, you're right. I really, really like the fact that Miles has quite a big part to play. And also Geordi almost pulling rank on Riker, but it's not pulling rank. It's the reverse of it.
Quoting regulation.
Yeah, it's like, you can't beam up. The whole idea of going to a planet you've never been to before that is full of life and just beaming down in your pajamas, which is effectively what a Starfleet jumpsuit is just really stupid. If anybody's seen Prometheus, the Alien franchise movie, you know what happens if you go to an alien planet. There's wee kind of nanoworms that will go in your ear and then you'll birth some kind of alien that will rip its way out your stomach. So, yeah, that was stupid, but I suppose it helped tell the story. My favourite bit in the whole episode is where Data and Geordi beam down and they've got the root thing with the fang on it and Geordi goes near it and then it jumps and I properly got a fright even though I've seen it 12 times.
Yeah, and there's some good banter there too. And Data says, that'd be dangerous for you. Well, first of all, before they even beam down, Data didn't want Geordi to beam down because he's organic and he could end up just like Riker. And Geordi insists on beaming down, doing his duty. He knows exactly where the thing was. And then when they're getting close to that route, and he says he's going to move in closer, and Data says, he wouldn't advise that. That could be dangerous. And as Geordi's saying, I'm counting on your android reflexes, the thing moves and Data grabs it. I like that part. And there were some, Pulaski had some cute one-liners, I thought, too. I like the part in sickbay when Captain Picard is there and he says, what can I do? And she says, you can get out of my hair. He says, aye, aye, doctor.
Yeah, he takes it quite well.
Yeah, exactly, which he wouldn't have in The Child or one of the earlier episodes.
True.
So... And then with O'Brien and Pulaski, when she goes to beam down, and we already know she doesn't like the transporter. He says, I hope these are the right coordinates. And then he says, just kidding, doctor. I know how much you love the transporter. And she says, about as much as I love comical transporter chiefs.
That is really mean. If you know somebody is genuinely scared of using a device or scared of something, you don't purposefully set out to make a joke against it.
I know. No wonder he ended up with Keiko.
I also love the little comedy bit at the end when Riker is waking up from his coma and Picard asks him if he knows who he is. And he's like, of course I know who I am. I'm Captain Jean-Luc Picard of the USS Enterprise. And Picard turns to Data and says, well, the Admiral and I here are glad to see you up and around. And Data's like, I don't think you have the permission to make me an Admiral.
Not getting the joke, That's funny.
Yeah, there were a lot of good, little one-liners in that third of an episode that we got. And then Riker playing the tough guy too. If you drop a hammer on your foot, you don't get mad at the hammer. Okay.
Yeah, well, normally your whole foot doesn't fall asleep when you hit it with a hammer, right? Like his body started going numb. That's probably a pretty bad sign.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is in quite good spirits, isn't he? Before he starts to die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like his great grandfather once got bitten by a snake, and after like 10 hours of mortal agony, the snake died.
Yeah.
Which is genuinely quite funny.
And that's where I saw kind of the Riker character moments, because he's playing the tough guy, and I think he even says in there that, well, he's the first officer and he needs to die with dignity and, put on set the example for everyone else.
It's a bad example to be killed by a root.
Is that an honorable Klingon death?
No, not at all. Killed by a plant. A static plant.
This episode was a victim of circumstance, right? Like,
Yeah.
They were told, we only have enough budget left in the season for you to make an episode in 3 days. You've got 3 days to film something. So How do you pad out your story? You make it a clip show. It is what it is. They chose at least half-decent clips. But the people who've watched every episode, and the show had only been on for 2 years at this point. It's not like it's an end of a 7-year run clip show where it may have been 6 years since you've seen an episode. Like, all of these episodes aired within the last 18 months, right? So,
that's a good point. If it was a season 7 episode, it probably wouldn't have scored so lowly.
Yeah.
Because it would have been a bit of nostalgia for people.
Mm-hmm.
And now the stakes would have been much higher at the thought of losing a character you love so much because he's been in it 7 years.
Yeah. But I agree that it does deserve its place near the bottom of the list. It's because it really is only half an episode.
Yeah. And, it is like I said, a premise that I would love to see Star Trek do more of. I think they did it in Enterprise, where they have some like crazy dust that makes people hallucinate. But yeah, you beam down to these strange new worlds in your pajamas, and you never know what might bite ya. So see, even the lowest rated of all times episodes aren't totally bad.
And you notice that was a third of an episode that we got, and it got a third of a full score.
That's true. That's true.
There's a link there.
I guess I should go in and rate it lower because it needs to be 3.33, not 3.4.
True.
Well, any final thoughts, gentlemen?
Like I think we said off the top, any Star Trek is good Star Trek. I would rather watch bad Star Trek than a lot of other things. So I think we proved our point that there's at least something fun to watch in every episode.
I agree to a point. I think I would rather watch bad Star Trek than a lot of other things, but I would still watch some things as opposed to Picard.
Ooh.
Sorry, I had to go there. Not done it in a while. Yeah, a lot of these scores are good scores. If like a movie on IMDb gets 6 out of 10, it's made like $1 bajillion at the box office. That's the rule of movies, so it's by no means a failing score.
That's true, Joe. And the bar is set high for Star Trek.
Exactly.
And
so it's like if we're really picking episodes apart and try to guess at why people don't like them, and then find the redeeming qualities. And I think that's why it was quite a difficult choice for a lot of them. Try to find things. It's like we didn't have much to say about a lot of it.
Yeah, and I agree with both of you guys where bad Star Trek is often better than good other stuff or mediocre other stuff. Although the next time that a crappy season 2 episode comes on HNI TV, just for you, Joe, I'm going to put on an episode of Picard instead. Because I love it.
Why?
But yeah, season 2 kind of gets a bad rap. Don't make that face at me, Joe.
It's like, no, it's my confused why face. Why? Why would you do that to yourself?
Because I love it. And there were some great episodes in season 2, and there are some that just have terrible reputations. But I think we can find good stuff in all of them.
You realise this series of finding the good and the bad is going to get progressively harder.
Yes.
Because as TNG goes on, it gets better and better and better.
I was just looking ahead to season 3 as you mentioned this, and the lowest rated episode on IMDb has a 6.3.
Wow.
So the average, and most episodes are 7 or higher in season 3.
Yeah.
So.
And season 4 will get even harder. And then when we get to season 7, we won't be able to find any good in a certain episode.
Well,
I'm sure we can. Some people like ghost stories.
The closing credits.
oh no,
Stop, Ria.
Sub Rosa, they brought the rocks or the bricks to build that castle thing from the hills of Kilmarnock. Really, I live like really close to Kilmarnock. It's like a 20-minute drive away. There are no hills. Seriously. Get a grip. This is a preview of our season 7 of finding the good and the bad.
I'll tell you what, by the time we get to that, God willing, we'll be able to travel again, and so we can all get together and record that episode from the flat hills of...
the flat hills.
Yeah.
The flat hills. Fun.
Cool.
Nice. Sounds like a plan.
Incoming transmission.
We'd love to hear your thoughts on today's show and hope you'll comment on our United Federation of Podcasts Facebook page or join the Federation Council Chambers. You're welcome to start conversations with us or add any general Star Trek info you want to share with the group.
If you'd like to send us an email, you can email the network at contact@ufp.earth, and we might read your email on the show.
Please hit the subscribe button on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts and leave us a star rating and written review. That helps others to find the show. You can also follow the entire network's podcast with our master feed by searching United Federation of Podcasts. This way you won't miss any of our fine shows like All Good Things, Franchise Fatigue, Always Hold On to Arrow, General Quarters, Mickey's Marvels, Infinite Diversity, and TrekPod. So Kevin, which section of this ship can you be found while out there in the universe?
Well, you can sometimes find me in 10 Forward, gazing into Guinan's eyes, practicing my pickup lines. But if I'm not there, you can find me on several other podcasts, including True North Nerds, which is a show about general nerd and geek topics. We just did a review of DC's Fandom event from a couple of weeks ago. You can find me on Stage Whispers, which is a podcast about live theater in Central Ontario, so very niche. But you can also find me in the Federation Council Chambers, posting in there on Facebook, and at True North Nerds on Twitter. So, Ria, what deck will you be on when you are not shape-changing and protecting your ward?
Well, when I'm not practicing my Ambo Jitsu so that I can effectively protect my ward, you'll find me enjoying the last few days of decent weather before it gets cold, but then I'll be huddled up back on the warmest deck of the ship, poking around the Federation Council Chambers on Facebook and watching stellar episodes of TNG for future Galaxy Class podcasts. And Joe, in which conference room will you debate the merits of what IMDb rates as low-rated episodes, but which are actually awesome episodes in disguise?
Well, you won't find me in the main observation lounge because I'll be an ensign and I won't get to be near the bridge because I'll be like proper lower decks. So I think there's a conference room on deck 14. You'll find me there if you want to chat about low-rated episodes, which, like Ria says, are actually awesome. Mm-hmm. When I'm not doing that, you can also find me... Where can you find me? You find me in 10 Forward. So just like, 10 Forward? So deck 14, conference room there. Just walk along the corridor to the turbo lift, go up 4 decks, walk forward, then I'll be 10 Forward, and it'll be dead easy. I'll just go between them and my quarters. I think my quarters are also on deck 14. So I'll just do that wee Z shape. But other than that, you can find me on the Federation Council Chambers, our listeners group on Facebook. You can tweet me on the Twitter at JoeyJoe77UK. You can email me, don't know why I even bother mentioning this, joepodcasts@gmail.com.
Because you don't reply to emails that I sent months and months and months ago.
No, you didn't email me. You must have mistyped the email address.
I'm going to forward it to you.
Do it, please.
Okay.
Or reply immediately.
Priority 1 message from Starfleet coming in on secured channel.
If you'd like to help us keep all our shows coming to you each week, you can become a patron of the network on Patreon. Visit patreon.com/UFPearth. That's patreon.com/UFPearth to get all the details. We have 4 different levels starting at just $1 per month and would appreciate any support you can give us.
We would like to recognize our executive producers, Brandon Shea Mutala, Ken Tripp, Zach Moore, and Tony Robinson. We would also like to thank Zach Tripp for our opening and closing music, and Tony Robinson for our amazing artwork.
Thank you for beaming aboard the Galaxy class, and until next time...
Life is like loading twice your cargo weight onto your spacecraft. If it's canaries and you can keep half of them flying all the time, you're all right.
This is all just beginning. We've only charted 19% of our galaxy. The rest is out there just waiting.
And remember, folks, always take your antidote before your Klingon tea ceremony. And stay classy, Galaxy.
Engage.
This has been a production of MTMR Media Works.